Hi, first grade Guadalupe students. This is Mrs. Maldonado. I have a guided reading lesson that I will be sharing with you. I also have a sight word game and a math lesson. So first we'll get started with guided reading. Okay, and the title for our book today is Emily and Mortimer, and it's by Pamela Chanko, and it's illustrated by Doug Jones. Emily and Mortimer were best friends. They did everything together. They even had the same birthday. What can I give Emily to show I am grateful for her friendship? Thought Mortimer. Her gift has to be just right. Emily was thinking the same thing. Okay, so here we see that their birthday is in July, actually July 11th. And boys and girls, I wanted to point out to you as well that in each of the pages, or each page that we go on, each slide, there will be some vocabulary words, and they are going to be in bold print. Remember, bold print is one of our text features. So bold print, that means that it's darker and it's going to stand out. So the vocabulary word for this page is grateful. So grateful means to be thankful for something. Emily remembered the time Mortimer let her use his paints. Mortimer was so generous. Mortimer remembered the time Emily stood up for him. Emily was so loyal. So we have two vocabulary words, one on each page. And for this page where we see that Emily is painting, the vocabulary word is generous. And generous means to be happy, to give your things to others. Okay, so you're happy to give things that to other people. It could be maybe something that you have in abundance, or maybe something that you don't need, or maybe something that you just want to share with somebody else, boys and girls. That's being generous, okay, to give things away to other people. Okay, and the vocabulary word that we have on page 5 is loyal. And loyal means showing strong friendship or support for someone. Then we have some speech bubbles at the top. So we have, how can you be friends with someone so small? We have this character here, this purple elephant. I guess he was speaking to Emily, saying, how can she be friends with someone so small? Because we see that the mouse is really tiny and Emily is enormous, like one of the vocabulary words that we had in another story, boys and girls. Okay, so, and Emily says, he may be small, but he has a huge heart. So she is referring to that vocabulary word loyal. Emily was so loyal to his friend. That means that she's showing strong friendship or support for someone. Whenever Mortimer needed help, he could depend on Emily. Whenever Emily got hurt, Mortimer helped her feel better. Okay, so our vocabulary word for this slide is depend. So depend means to rely on someone or something. That means that if you need help, you can count on your friend to be there for you. Okay, in this case, Emily, Mortimer was needed help. He can depend on Emily because he wasn't tall enough to reach what he needed to get, so he could depend on Emily to help her. Mortimer loved Emily because she was honest. Emily always told him the truth. Emily loved Mortimer because he was kind. Mortimer gave her a hug whenever she needed one. Okay, so we have a speech bubble here, and Emily was saying, oops, I sat on your train, sorry. So we know that she is being honest. Okay, honest means never lying, cheating, or stealing. She was being honest, even though she did something that she knew probably was gonna hurt somebody else's feelings or make someone sad. She was honest about it, boys and girls, and that is the right thing to do, to always be honest regardless of what it is or what happened, right? So she was being honest. She told Mortimer that she sat on his train and she broke it, but she did say that she was sorry. So I'm sure he appreciates that. Okay, then we have another speech bubble over here, and Emily's telling Mortimer, I had a bad day. And Mortimer's giving her a hug. Everything will be okay. So our vocabulary word for page 9 is kind. Okay, and kind means being nice to others. Of course, Emily and Mortimer sometimes had arguments. They did not feel the same way about everything, but they always found a way to solve their problems. So we have our vocabulary word on page 10. We have it in bold print, arguments, and we know that that word means disagreements or fights between people. So there are things that people do not agree on, so they sometimes have arguments, okay? So that's the vocabulary word for that page, because maybe somebody wanted peanuts and somebody wanted cheese. I wonder who wanted peanuts and who wanted cheese. We know that the mouse probably wanted cheese, and probably the elephant peanuts, if we were to make a prediction about that, right, boys and girls? All right, so the next page says, but they always found a way to solve their problem. So guess what they did? They got a pizza so they got the cheese and the peanuts. So they were thinking win-win on that, boys and girls. They got both of the things, so they were both happy. This gift will be perfect, thought Emily, because there is one thing Mortimer and I always agree on. Mortimer was thinking the same thing. They would be best friends forever. So Emily saying, happy birthday, Mortimer. And then Mortimer saying, happy birthday, Emily. So they both had, remember, they both had the same birthdays on the same day, same month. Okay, so our vocabulary word, remember the vocabulary word is in bold print. So the bold word is agree. So agree means to have the same idea or opinion about something. So they both agreed on the cake or whatever they were doing. They both agreed on this. They looks like they both have the same shirt. They were looks like they were making a gift for each other, and they both liked the same thing. So they agreed on it. Okay, so now we have our vocabulary meaning match. So we have our definitions here. Okay, that means what our vocabulary words mean. And then we have our word chest with all of the vocabulary words that we just reviewed and learned in our story. Okay, are you ready to get started? All right, so the first one for number 1, it's, and you can read it with me if you like. It says showing strong friendship or support. So showing strong friendship or support for someone, what does that mean? Showing strong friendship or support for someone. So we have generous, depend, arguments, agree, kind, loyal, honest, and grateful. What does that mean, boys and girls? Showing strong friendship or support for someone. Okay, so that means that we are loyal to someone, okay? No matter what, we are always there by their side, okay? The next one, never lying, cheating, or stealing. That is a good quality that we want to all have, right, boys and girls? To never lie, cheat, or steal. So what does that mean? Which one of those vocabulary words is that? Yes, that is honest. We always want to be honest. And no matter what, remember that Emily had sat on Mortimer's toy and she broke it. But guess what? She knew that he might be a little upset to find that out, but she told him and she said she was sorry. And it was best for him to find out, boys and girls, to see who did it, and to know that, they didn't mean to do it, instead of him finding out and then her saying, well, I didn't do it. So she was being honest. She told the truth. Okay, number 3. Happy to give your things to others. Happy to give your things to others. What is that word? When we give things to others and we're happy that we do share our things with somebody else. Okay, yes, you are correct. That is generous. Okay, so we're going to put a number 3 for generous, because generous means to be happy to give our things to others. All right, now let's move on to number 4. To rely on someone or something. To rely on someone or something. That means that if somebody has a job, we know that they're going to do it. What is that word? I know that in school, we have jobs. Remember, we're all leaders. We all have our student leadership job, and we all count on everybody to do their jobs in the classroom. So what is that word? Yes, it is depend. We depend on our friends in class, right, to do their jobs. All right, number 5, disagreements or fights between people. Because, we like different things and we do different things sometimes. And that doesn't mean that everybody's going to like it. And, sometimes we just have to be able to accept everybody's choices and everybody's what they like and what they don't like. So people have what? Very good. Arguments. Arguments. Remember that Mortimer and Emily, one wanted pizza and one wanted cheese. And then they were thinking win-win, and then they had a cheese pizza with peanuts. So they both got what they wanted. So there was an argument there. All right. So number 6, moving on to number 6. To have the same idea or opinion about something. So that when we both like the same thing, remember at the end, they were giving each other a birthday gift and they liked the same thing. So what did they do? They agreed. Okay, they agreed on the gift. They liked the same thing. All right, boys and girls, number 7. Let's move on to number 7. You can help me read it if you like. To be thankful for something. So when somebody gives us something, we are what? It doesn't matter what it is. We always have to be what? That's right. We have to be grateful. We are always grateful, boys and girls, when we receive something. We always have to make sure that we tell that person thank you. Okay, we have to be grateful. All right, and our last vocabulary word for this activity, our vocabulary meaning match. Okay, be nice to others. What is that word that means being nice to others? Very good. That is kind. We have to be kind to others, boys and girls. If we're kind to other people, we're going to have many friends. But if we are not kind, then we might not have any friends. So kind is a very important word and a very good quality to have. All right, so kiss your brain. You've worked so hard with those words, boys and girls. So you have new vocabulary words that you can use. And you can also use those in a sentence. When you're writing a sentence, remember those words. All right, let's move on to our next activity. And we're going to be using the same words that we learned throughout our story and the words that we just reviewed the definitions on. But this time, boys and girls, we're going to use them in context. So that means we're going to use them in a sentence. Okay? We're going to fill in the sentence with the proper vocabulary word. So help me read it. Now, if you would like to join me for this activity, go get a piece of paper and a pencil or something to write with. I'll give you a couple of minutes. If you already have your paper, go ahead and number it from 1 through 8. We're not going to write the sentence. You're just going to write the words. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Okay, I'm giving you a couple of minutes so you can go get your piece of paper if you don't have one and a pencil to write with. Alrighty, boys and girls, we're going to get started with this activity. So this is fill in the sentence. Remember, it's vocabulary words that we've been learning throughout our story and vocabulary words that we just reviewed definitions on, okay? So for number 1, and you can read along with me. If we can blank on what to see, my mom will take us to the movies. So if somebody wants to see the same movie, what does that mean? That they all what? Let me read those vocabulary words for you. Kind, depend, arguments, honest, generous, grateful, agree, or loyal. Which one of those vocabulary words you think makes sense and fits in that blank? If we can blank on what to see, my mom will take us to the movies. All right, very good. It is agree. I wonder what movie they want to watch. So agree. Okay, so if we can agree on what to see, my mom will take us to the movies. All right, number 2. Becca would never cheat on checkers. She is always what? So that means no cheating, boys and girls. She is always what? She is always what? Very good. That means she is honest. She always tells the truth. She does not cheat. She is always honest. Okay, so we're going to write honest for number 2. And you can do the same thing. See if you can figure out what word fits the blank on number 3. Which word makes sense in that sentence to complete that sentence. All right, so let me read it for you, or we can read it together. Okay, Kathy let Kenny have half of her jelly beans. She is very what? When we give things to others, boys and girls, we share our things with others for them to keep. What are we? When we are giving things away and we are happy to give things away, we are what? That's right, we are generous. Okay, she is very generous. So we're going to write the word generous. Okay, it's a pretty long word. So you're learning lots of fancy words and practicing on how to spell those, boys and girls. Very good. All right, number 4. Jamal is nice to everyone in our class. He is so what? When you are nice to everyone, remember, that is a quality that we all want to have. What is that word, boys and girls? Yes, kind. Kind. He is so kind. I bet Jamal's going to have lots of friends. He is so kind. All right, number 5. Moving on to number 5. I would be blank if you would help me with my homework. I would be what? If we thank somebody because they help us or they do something for us or they give something to us, we are what, boys and girls? What is that word? What is that word? Very good. That is grateful. I would be grateful. Okay. I would be grateful if you would help me with my homework. That means, oh, I thank you very much for helping me with my homework. I am very grateful. Okay, let's move on to number 6. Danica and Jake are always getting into blank about which cartoon to watch. So one person wants to watch this cartoon and the other person wants to watch this cartoon. They're always getting into what, boys and girls? Yes, arguments. Okay, and that's also a long word. So I'm going to try to write it in here, and you can go ahead and write it in your piece of paper as well. Remember, this is number 6. Arguments. A-R-G-U-M-E-N-T-S. Very good. Arguments. So let's read that sentence again. Danica and Jake are always getting into arguments about which cartoon to watch. All right, we're going to move on to number 7. Read the sentence along with me. I can blank on my dad to get me to karate practice on time. So which one of those vocabulary words fits in that sentence? We only have 2 vocabulary words left. We have depend and we have loyal. So which one of those words best fits that blank? I can blank on my dad to get me to karate practice on time. Very good. That is depend. So for number 7, we can write in depend. D-E-P-E-N-D. Depend, that means that we can make sure that that person is going to do their job. We can count on them. All right, for number 8. Francine always sticks up for her little brother, Max. She is such a blank sister. So remember that word is somebody that you can always count on. Okay, that is loyal. So let's go ahead and write in that word for number 8. L-O-Y-A-L. All right, you did such a great job with those vocabulary words, boys and girls. You learned them as we were reading our story. You helped look for the meanings of each vocabulary word, and we also used them in context in a sentence. So kiss your brain. That brain is getting so smart, learning all of these vocabulary words. So let's move right along to our next activity. Okay, now we have vocabulary questions. So remember that these are the same vocabulary words that we learned throughout our story. So we are not going to take too much time on this right now because you will go back and take your time to answer these questions because it's going to take a little bit of time to write your sentences. So these are questions, boys and girls. That means that you are going to be writing a statement for each one of these questions. Okay? So remember when you start your sentence to start with an uppercase letter. Remember, every sentence should have an uppercase letter. Also, these are questions, so that means that you are writing a statement. And at the end of a sentence of a statement, we have a period. So remember your period at the end of your sentence. So the first question I'm going to read to you. What are some ways you can be generous to your friends? So remember we talked about being generous, to be happy to give things to others. What are some ways you can be generous to your friends? Okay, number 2. Who is someone you depend on? Think of a person that you depend on for whatever thing that it is that you are thinking about. What do you depend on? That means that you can count on that person to do whatever it is that you need for them to do. Okay, number 3. Can you think of something you could do for your family that would make them grateful? Okay, what is something you can do to make them grateful for what you did? All right, boys and girls, I included some pictures here, some photographs to kind of give you some clues of the vocabulary words that we just learned and reviewed, to kind of give you some ideas on something that you can write, okay, for each one of your sentence. So we're going to move right along to our next activity, and get your papers ready, boys and girls, and your pencils, because we are now ready to get started with our sight word game. Okay, this is the sight word Scrabble. So we had been working prior to these couple of lessons. We had been working with 3-letter sight words. But guess what, boys and girls? You are now going to be working on 4-letter sight words. You are just so smart that we had to challenge you a little bit. Okay, so now you are going to look for the sight words, the 4-letter sight words that match all these group of letters that are all mixed up. They're all scrambled up. So we're going to put them in order and make a sight word for each one. Okay, so let's get started. If you want, you can get your piece of paper and see if you can find those sight words before I can find them. Let's see who can win. All right, so let's go. Let's get started with our first one. So the first, we're gonna be looking at the first red, the first black row of group of letters, because they're not words, they're all mixed in together, boys and girls. The way that they are, it's not a word, they're just letters mixed in together. But after we figure out which sight word it is, we can put them in order. Okay, so that's our sight word Scrabble game. So the first thing that we're gonna do, we are going to look for in the red words, those are the sight words that are all mixed up in the top. Okay, so we're gonna look for this word A. We're gonna look for a sight word that has A, a D, a E, and a R. So this one has an A, it has a D, and it has an E, but it does not have the R, so it cannot be that one. This one does not have an A. This one has an A, does not have a D. This doesn't have any of the letters. This doesn't have any of the letters. This doesn't have, well, it has an E and an R, does not have a D. This one has an A, it has a D, it has an E, and it has an R. So it must be this one. So I am going to circle that word. Then I am going to put it in the correct order. And I'm going to cross off all the letters, cross them out as I am writing my word to make sure I am using all those letters. Okay, the first one is R, E, A, and D. Okay, what sight word is that, boys and girls? Very good. That is the word read. Read. Okay, next one, we have an S-A-W-H. Okay, there's no S in this one. No S in this one. I do not see an S here or here, nor here, nor here. This one has an S. It has an A. It has a W, and it also has an H. So I am going to circle that one. Okay, and then I am going to write it the correct way. Okay, W, cross out the W. I'm using that letter. A, cross it out. Next, I have an S, cross it out. And finally, an H. So what sight word is that? Wash. Wash. Very good. All right, let's move right along. You're doing a great job. You might be able to find them before I get to them. Okay, so let's look at this group of letters. We have a D, E, M, A. Okay, so we're going to look at our first red word. Okay, I see a D. I also see a D, an M, and an A. So guess what? We found it on our first try. All right, I'm going to circle that. Then I am going to write it the correct way to spell this sight word is M, A, D, and finally we have an E. So what sight word is that? Very good. It's made. Made. All right, let's go to the next one. We have a P-O-U-N. All right, I do not see a P in this word. No P in this one. There is a P here. O, the U, and the N. So it must be this sight word. Okay, so let's write it underneath. Put it in the correct order. Put the letters in the correct order. U, P, O, and finally we have an N. So what sight word is that? Very good. It's upon. Upon. Okay, so let's look at our next one. L-P-L-U. Okay, so this one has an L, but it does not have a P. This one doesn't have any of the letters I'm looking for. Well, there's an L, there's a P, then an L, and a U. So it must be this one. Okay, I'm going to write it right underneath. P, U, and then the two L's. What sight word is that, boys and girls? Very good. It's the sight word pool. Pool. All right, so let's go to the next one. We have a L, a T, a L, and a E. Okay, so I see an L, I see a T, I see another L and an E. So it must be the first one on our try. We got it. First try. All right, so let's write the word in the correct order. The letters, put the letters in the correct order. First we have a T. Okay, cross it out. Then it's a E. Cross it out. And then we have two L's. So what sight word is that? Tell. Tell. All right, let's go to our next one. We have, let's look at this group of letters. N, Y, M, A. All right, we have an N, we have a Y, we have an M, and we also have an A. Again, on our first one, we got it. All right, I'm going to circle it, and I'm circling them, boys and girls, so that way I know that I already used them, so I don't waste my time looking at those words again, because that means I already used it. It's not going to be that one, so that's why I'm circling them, okay? So first we have an M, cross it out, A, N, and finally we have a Y. What sight word is that? Perfect. Many. Many. All right, next one. R, E, V, Y. Okay, I see an R, I see a E, I see a V, and I also see a Y. All right, so I am going to circle that one, and I am going to write the letters in the correct order. First we have the V, next we have the E, and then the R, and finally the Y. So what sight word is that? Very. Very. All right. Next group of letters, we have a I, a W, a H, and an S. I, W, H, S. Okay, so I see an I here, do not see a W, so that means I need to go to the next one. I, W, H, and an S. That's it. Circle it, boys and girls. Then I am going to write it underneath this group of letters that's all mixed up together, so I can put them in the correct order. W, and I'm going to cross it out. I, cross it out. Then I have an S, cross it out, and the last letter is an H. What sight word is that? Good job. It says wish. Wish. All right, so our last one. Here we go. I'm going to circle it because I know that's got to be it. It's my last word. All right, so I'm going to write it right underneath this this group of letters. S, I, N, and G. What sight word is that? Very good. It's sing. Sing. All right, boys and girls, we are all done. Let's just do a final review of our sight words. Okay, I'm going to start from the top row of the red words, the ones that I circled. So read them along with me. Made, many, pool, read, sing, tell, upon, very, wash, wish. Alrighty, boys and girls, kiss that brain. Worked so hard, did a great job with those sight words. So now when you write your sentences, boys and girls, you will learn how to spell these sight words. You will not have to use your dictionary. So keep on practicing your sight words every day. Okay, we're going to move right along. Okay, so next we have math time with Mrs. Maldonado. All right, so let's keep going. We have how many tens and ones. So it's giving us a number. Now we have to figure out how many tens are in that number and how many ones are in that number. Okay, so the first thing that we're going to do is we are going to draw a T chart. Okay, so draw, it's like a letter T. Okay, and then we are going to put a 6 on this side and a 3 on this side, just like we see our number. If I were to cut this right here, this would be our tens and this would be our ones. Okay, So the tens are on our left side and the ones are on our right side. Okay, so I'll just put ones here and tens here. Okay, so remember the tens are a straight line. And also remember that when we get to 5, it's going to be a diagonal line. The tally is going to be a diagonal line. Okay, so when we get to 5, we know that we can count by 5 and then count on. All right, so let's draw 6 tallies for the tens. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 6. I was forgetting my diagonal line, boys and girls. All right, and for the ones, let's draw our ones. 1, 2, and 3. So let's count to see how many tens we have. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Okay, so we have 6 tens. And how many ones, boys and girls? Let's count. 1, 2, 3. We have 3 ones. So now let's count them as if we were counting our numbers, okay? So that means the tens, we're going to count them by tens, and then we're going to switch, and then we're going to count by ones. I'll remind you to switch, okay? All right, here we go. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60. Switch. 61, 62, and 63. Okay, so we have 6 tens and 3 ones that make 63. Okay, let's move on to our next one. Okay, how many tens and ones? So go ahead and your piece of paper, draw your T-chart. Okay, put your 6 on this side and your 2 on this side. Okay, remember this is your tens and these are your ones. All right, so we have 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And then we have 2 ones, 1 and 2. All right, so we're going to count how many tens we have in 62. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. All right, so how many tens? Correct, we have 6 tens. And how many ones, boys and girls? 1, 2. We have 2 ones. Now we're going to count, okay? And remember to switch when we are moving from tens to ones. So help me count. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60. Switch. 61 and 62. All right, so there's 6 tens and 2 ones in the number 62. Okay, let's move on to our next one. How many tens and ones? So what is the first thing we do, boys and girls? That's right, we're going to make our T-chart a big T. Okay, the 8 goes on this side and the 4 goes on this side because this side is our tens and this side is our ones. It does not change. That's how it is all the time. Remember, the ones are on your right side and the tens are going to be to your left side. Well, let's count and see. We have 8 tens. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. So we have 8 tally marks for the tens. And then for the ones, we're going to draw 4 little boxes. 1, like cubes. 2, 3, and 4. All right, boys and girls. So let's count and make sure we have 8. And then that we have 4 ones. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. We do. We have 8 tens. And how many ones? Let's count. 1, 2, 3, and 4. We have 4 ones. So now we're going to count by using tens and ones. Remember to switch over from tens to ones, okay? I'll remind you again. All right, here we go. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80. Switch. 81, 82, 83, and 84. So we have 8 tens and 4 ones in the number 84. All right, how many tens and ones? Okay, so what do we do first? Okay, show me in your piece of paper. We draw a big T. Okay, then we write the number 9 on this side. Remember, tens are always on your left side, and your ones are always on the right side. Okay, so tens are here and ones are there. Okay, now we are going to draw 9 tallies for the 1 because those tally marks, those straight lines, they represent the tens. Okay, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4. Remember, the 5th one is always diagonal. So 5, okay, 6, 7, 8, 9, and then we have the ones. How many ones do we have? That's right, we have 2. So you're going to draw 2 little cubes here, or 2 little boxes, squares, or whatever you want to draw. Okay, we're going to draw 2 on that side. Well, let's count and see how many we have so we can fill in the boxes of how many tens and how many ones. All right, count along with me. Help me count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. We have 9 tens, boys and girls. How many ones do we have? Yes, we have 1 and 2. 2 ones. Now, let's count them in tens and ones. And I will remind you to switch, okay? Because sometimes we forget. I know it gets a little tricky. All right, here we go. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, switch, 91, and 92. So we have 9 tens and 2 ones in the number 92. All right, let's move right along to our next one. How many tens and ones? So first of all, boys and girls, we start with our T-chart. You know that already? Here we go. You probably already have that done. So where does the 6 go? That's right. That goes on the left side with the tens. What about the 7? You're right. That goes on the right side where the ones go. All right. So we are going to draw our tally marks for the tens. How many tallies are we drawing? That's right. We are drawing 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. How many ones? You're correct. There are 7 ones. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. All right, so let's count them and see how many tens we have, how many ones we have, so we can fill in those boxes. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So we have 6 tens. Now let's see in how many ones we have. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. We have 7 ones. All right, so now we're going to count them by tens, and then we're going to switch and count by sevens. Okay, here we go. Count along with me. Help me count. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, switch. 61, 62, 63, 64, 65, 66, and 67. So there are 6 tens and 7 ones in the number 67. Okay, let's move on to our next one. This time, boys and girls, we're going to draw and write the number. So this time they're giving us how many tens and how many ones. We're going to draw them in the T-chart and we're going to write what number that is, okay? All right, so let's draw our T-chart here. We have 3 tens. It tells us those are the tens and 5 ones. Okay, so let's draw it, okay, because it's asking us to draw. So we're going to draw the 3 tens. 1, 2, and 3, then it's asking us to draw 5 ones. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. We have 5 ones. So let's count, boys and girls, so we can write the number. Are you ready? And I'll remind you to switch, okay? 10, 20, 30, switch, 31, 32, 33, 34, and 35. So our number is 35. There we go. You did a great job drawing and writing the number, boys and girls. For the next one, I'm going to see if you can do it all by yourself. Okay, I'm going to give you a couple of minutes to get started. I want you to draw your T-chart and put the numbers where they belong. Okay? All right. So I will go ahead and draw my T-chart now. And then I have a 5 on this side because these are my 10s. And I have a 3 on this side because these are my 1s. Very good. Okay, so first of all, we have to draw. Okay, remember the 10s are tally marks. And remember, when it's 5, it's a diagonal tally mark. So count with me. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Then we have 3 ones. 1, 2, and 3. All right, so we already drew the numbers for our 10s and our 1s. Now we are going to count them, our 10s and our 1s, so we can write what number it is, boys and girls. Okay, and remember we have to switch from 10s to 1s. I'll remind you, okay? Here we go. Help me count. 10, 20, 30, 40, and 50. Switch. 51, 52, and 53. So our number is 53. So 5 10s and 3 1s make 53. Okay, let's move on. It says draw and write the number. So we are going to draw our T-chart. 8 10s, 7 1s. So we're going to draw our 8 10s. Remember, our tally marks are straight lines. Remember, when we are number 5, it's going to be diagonal. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Then we have number 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. We have 7 1s. All right, so we have 8 10s. So help me count. We're going to count by 10s, and then we're going to switch, and then we are going to count by 1s, okay? So help me count. Help me count. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, and 80. Okay, we have 80. Switch. 81, 82, 83, 84, 85, 86, and 87. So our number is 87, boys and girls. So in 87, we have 8 10s and 7 1s. Okay, let's move on to our next problem. Okay, it says draw and write the number 3 10s and 6 1s. Okay, we have 3 10s and then we have 6 1s. 1, 2, and 3. And then we have 6 1s. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So help me count. 10, 20, 30. Switch. 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, and 36. All right, so our number is 36. So in 36, we have 3 10s and 6 1s. Okay, now we have 6 10s and 3 1s. So 6 10s and 3 1s. We are going to draw 6 10s. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And then we are going to draw 3 1s. 1, 2, and 3. All right, so let's count. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60. Switch. 61, 62, and 63. So our number is 63. We have 6 tens and 3 ones in the number 63. All right, so now it's your turn, boys and girls, to log on to MobyMax. Go into www.mobymax.com. You are going to click on the orange sign in tab, okay? And then you are going to get this screen that you see under step 2. Make sure you are logging in as a student, okay? And under school name, I need for you to type Guadalupe Center. I need for you to leave a space between Guadalupe and Center. Then you're going to click on this green Find button. Once you click on that, you should be able to see Guadalupe Center under school. Once you see that, click on that, okay? Then you are going to go to step number 3, okay? So for step number 3, make sure that you are also, as a student, make sure that you see Guadalupe Center for school. And for your username and password, you are going to use your lunch number. Okay, it's the same number for both username and password. Okay, and then you're going to click on the green sign in box right here. Okay, for step 4, you are going to see your name here at the top. You don't see it on my screen because it's just a picture to show you what it looks like, but your name will be there. Make sure that it's your name and not someone else's, okay? Then once you get to this screen, you're going to click on the math green icon right here to start your lesson. Remember, everyone's lesson will be different, boys and girls, okay? So have fun until next time.